Morning, guys. Welcome to Coffee Chat. Wow, boy, that tasted good. Man, is it ever an amazing day? Beautiful. I got a nice breeze coming in here. It's a little bit chilly, but hey, it feels nice, crisp, and clean, and it smells awesome out here. And look at the trees. You can see a lot of those leaves are gone there. But boy, it is just nice to come out and share this with you in the morning. Well, so, guys, I was reading two articles today, one of them out of Bloomberg. And in this particular article, it's almost laughable in a way, and in a kind of a sick way. Apparently, Jay Clayton has been tagged to be an advisor on the bankruptcy of FTX. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, to me, that's like putting the fox in the henhouse. Here's the guy that on his last day of his tenure as the SEC chair drops a lawsuit on Ripple as he walks out the door, and then a whole herd of other executives follow suit, and they all just like boof, they drop this thing and off they go. And of course, we know it looks very, very suspicious as to the motivations for this whole lawsuit starting in the first place. And you got the whole ETHgate scandal and everything else. And yet this guy, Jay Clayton, is going to sit down as an advisor to the FTX bankruptcy. I'm telling you what. I mean, this is some kind of a story. I can't wait till they make a movie about this one. It is going to be some kind of entertaining, and you can bet your bottom dollar, hey, I'll pay per pay-per-view to watch that. But anyways, it's crazy. I mean, you really, when you think of this whole scenario, what's gone on over the last couple of years, and then you see all these backroom deals and ties. I mean, you got Gary Gensler tied up there and all that network for how he's interconnected with, FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried and Caroline, the CEO there for Alameda Research and all this and this. It just seems too unfathomable. All these little coincidences. It just is crazy. And now you got Jay Clayton taking this role. It is truly amazing to me. And it really causes me a lot. It just, you know what? I had little confidence as is, but when I look at this, it just evaporates my confidence in any of their dealings, as if there's any kind of genuineness to it at all. I think the whole thing is staged. It's just truly unbelievable. Well, the second article that I had read really piqued my interest. Now, this one is about Thailand and four other Southeast Asian central banks establishing a network for cross-border payments to kind of like exempt them from having to interchange with the US dollar. And so what they're doing is they're setting up an app and using these specific QR codes so that folks can make, utilizing this app, cross-border payments among all these various countries without having to change their money into US dollars and then reconvert it back into their native currencies and into US dollars and on and on and on. Well, this speaks volumes, guys. Folks around the world, central banks around the world, are losing confidence in the US dollar big time. And I think that we're going to see a real massive challenge to this world reserve currency status. Now, it reminds me of back in the 70s, a lot of these, European nations were having some big time issues and around the world on, whether or not the U.S. could pony up if they wanted to convert the dollars to gold. And so, of course, we know Nixon said, oh, it's all these speculators and da-da-da-da-da. No, it was the inflating of the dollar. And they didn't believe that the U.S. had the gold reserves to back it. And so what does Nixon do? He takes them off the gold standard absolutely, completely, way beyond. So at that point, U.S. dollars became truly fiat, where they're only based on the confidence that people have in the government as the government issues it. Well, we're seeing a global shakeup in the confidence of this world reserve currency status. You got the BRICS countries, you've got the Southeast Asian countries, and you're going to see, I think, when all these CBDCs start rolling out around the world. And by the way, in that video I just did last night, article in there, 10 countries are issuing their CBDCs before the end of 2023. Now, I want to give a shout out to Crypto Lulu because I was reading a tweet just today that has to do with the whole implementation of the ISO 222. Well, we've been told that the whole thing was being pushed back till March, but apparently that is not the case. And in fact, a lot of countries right now in Europe and around the world are instituting the ISO standard right now, but full implementation is going to happen by March. So quite interesting tweet to get, and he's finding all kinds of evidence to say that that is in fact what's happening. Now, something else that's going on at the same time is a lot of folks over in the UK are reporting that when they want to go out and buy crypto, that their individual banks are telling them now, oh no, we're not going to let you do that because, well, we have to protect you because of the potential frauds that are involved in some of these exchanges. So there you have it, guys. You got the banks controlling where people can actually spend their money and whether or not they're even going to allow them to move money from their accounts over to some of these exchanges, which, by the way, are operating legally in the UK. But the bank is saying, hey, no, we're not going to let you do it because, well, you know, there's just too much fraud and we don't trust it. Well, whose money is it? Is it the banks to risk, or is it the individual depositors' money and they're out there wanting to take that risk? Well, it sounds like you got Big Brother over there kind of trying to parent the whole situation and, you know, basically telling folks what they can and cannot do with their money. So don't think that when all these central bank digital currencies come in, that they're not going to try to pull some of this stuff on us with the actual currency. And that's why, guys, get the heck out there. Start writing letters into these, you know, members of parliament, your Congress, your Senate, whatever. And by the way, I had a big, lengthy discussion with some guy on leaving comments on the channel, basically saying, oh, you guys are idiots if you think you can ever influence change, you know, with your government according to monetary policy and what. And I wrote back and said, hey, look, I guess it's a good thing that Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, and you know, Nelson Mandela didn't have that point of view. Otherwise, there would have been no changes whatsoever. And, you know, he writes back and says, oh, we're not talking about civil rights. Are you kidding me? When we're talking about CBDCs here, guys, we're talking about our civil rights. You've literally got governments out there coming out and trying to tell you how much you can hold, how much you can spend, and even where you can spend it, and government-approved merchants and all the like. And in fact, the European Central Bank is debating all this stuff right now. And the potential of losing our anonymity to central bank digital currencies, that in and of itself should be enough. It is a major civil rights issue, and anybody that thinks it isn't is really just kidding themselves. Look, CBDCs are coming, whether we like that or not. And I know there's a lot of folks that see it as leading up to some real totalitarian type stuff. And you know what? That may be their ultimate agenda. I don't know. But I do know this. If we sit back and just say nothing and acquiesce to all this and just accept whatever they put before us, then I guess, guys, we've put it on ourselves. We got to get out there in these democratic countries and we have got to say our piece. Look, the pen still is way mightier than the sword. And you know that when they start shutting you down and not letting you have a platform to share your opinions, then you know that you're actually causing some kind of a stir. And that's why we've got to get out there and do that and not acquiesce to this idea. They've already silenced a lot of people by the virtue of the fact that, you know, they've convinced folks that their voice isn't even going to matter, so why bother? Well, I'm telling you, don't fall for that kind of passivity. Be active, be involved. It's our country's at the end of the day, not somebody else's just to rule over us. That's what freedom and liberty is truly all about. Well, guys, listen, I don't want to get on a big soapbox because you know how easy that is, but I've got a great video out for you later today. And don't forget, this Saturday, we're doing our live stream at 10 a.m. And I look forward to seeing you guys later this afternoon with our regularly released video. And so until then, take care.